Well, we're really excited about the class we were able to put together this year. I thought our assistant coaches worked extremely hard, put in a lot of time and effort, and I think we addressed a lot of needs. I think we got a lot of young men that hopefully not only will be a fit athletically but academically as well at Tech, and I look for this class to do some big things. I think we covered a lot of our needs, signed 4 defensive linemen, picked up some guys in the area that we felt like we needed to shore up in certain positions, and just think we've got a really good group, not only good football players but good people. So excited about how it ended up. We expected to sign 17 today, and we did. So that's always a positive when you don't have any last day craziness. So that was good, and look forward to these guys getting here in June and getting started. So throw it open to questions.
Coach, you got the last couple of weeks, you got a couple of kids that really not too many people knew about. Can you talk a little bit about some of the commits you got the last couple of weekends?
Well, we picked up, the wide receiver from Cook County that we knew about. We knew he was a good player, and I think he was kind of off the beaten path a little bit and didn't get recruited as much as maybe some kids that where everybody goes. But we think he can be a great player. I just really felt like we needed a punter to compete, to come in and if he doesn't win the job, push our guy that was the punter, push Sean, and give him some competition. And we were able to pick up a guy who came really highly recommended from a bunch of people I trust in that area. And I guess he had a really good all-star game when he punted. And when we had a chance to watch him, really good get-off times, quick, 2-step punter. I think he's got a lot of potential. And we picked up a linebacker in Birmingham. When we had a spot open that again was the 6A player of the year there, and a good player that had actually recruited us most of the year. And he had a ton of offers, and when it looked like we had room for one, we were able to pick him up. So those are probably the latest guys that we got committed.
Coach, was there one area you really went after that you feel like you were successful in kind of filling that void?
We wanted to make sure that we got some defensive linemen because we didn't get a bunch in last year's class, and when you do that, you have to cover. And historically for us at Tech, I said this morning, we've signed probably on average 16, 17, 18 guys in a class because we don't have the attrition that some places do. And when you do that, it's you can't miss 2 years in a row in any certain area. And I think that we did, and we managed to do that. So that was a positive, and we're excited about those guys. I think they're all capable of playing, and we're looking forward to getting them in this fall.
One of his defensive linemen has a unique story. Francis Callan, with his coming from England, has only played 1 year at Central Gwinnett. You actually started looking at him before he even played in a game. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, our coaches, knew about him. They saw him in the school, and then watched him run around at spring practice and knew that he was going to blow up and be a big-time recruit. And we were fortunate enough to get on him early. His parents valued education very much, and Georgia Tech had a great reputation with them. And he probably had as much traffic or as much recruitment as any kid in the state of Georgia. I mean, almost everybody who plays football came by and tried to flip him and tried to get him to take a visit. And his parents and Francis both were just strong. They stayed rock strong. His mom and dad is like, we're not looking. This is what we want. Georgia Tech has everything that we want. It's right here. That's what we're doing. So we're fortunate. I think he has a lot of potential. He's raw, but that can be good sometimes. He doesn't have a lot of bad habits.
You said you knew he would blow up when he started picking up.
Well, when you look at him, you knew he'd blow up. I mean, you could look at the kid, and at the time, he didn't have a lot of weight. Now he weighs 275, 80 pounds, and he's 6'6" and can run. So. Yeah, I mean, those kind of guys, there aren't a lot of them out there.
Even though signing day is over now, do you continue to look to see if there's anyone out there that might help you?
Oh, you know, if we've had a couple of kids talk to us about transferring, a couple of kids like that, but it would have to hit a certain need. The thing that you have to do for us as well is, this senior class and next year's senior class is not going to be very big. So what ends up happening, we think it's going to be a really good year in the state next year. And if you end up holding one or two, that's not a bad thing. You don't want to only have a class of 8 or 10. So you'd like to always be able to sign at least 15 or so in every class. And in order to do that, we're still trying to rebalance. I know we've been here 4 years, but we're still rebalancing numbers. And it's hard to do. You can't just do it overnight. So there's some thought that goes into everything. We're not going to take a guy just to take a guy to fill up. And I know some schools at the end, maybe they want to get to 25 every year. Really, that's how you get your recruiting rankings. You know, the more bodies you have, the higher you're going to be ranked. And, you know, I don't pay much attention to those rankings anyway, or don't put much stock in them. But if you even cared about it, the way you would find out is you would divide the number of, you know, you'd get a star average. And I think if you do that with our class, we'd probably be 3rd or 4th in the ACC. And you also have a couple of guys in our class. One, a punter's not going to get rated when you sign a punter, and number 2, the kid from Australia is not going to get rated. But I will match him up against most people that anybody signed. I mean, he's a 6'4", 300-pound kid that can run. So again, were he here, who knows how many stars he'd have? You know, so that's why I don't worry about that. I think you measure guys by how many games you win, and you know, we'll see how many games these guys can win in the next couple of years.
Is it tempting at all? I mean, when you're dealing with those recruiting rankings, and you're seeing the crawls across the television screen, you see the other schools, and you're hearing all the hype. I mean, is it sometimes a little bit tempting to kind of cross?
Well, not really, not to me, because I really don't pay much attention. I find it ironic that all the guys who are doing that are the guys who weren't very successful. I mean, if they were, they'd be signing their own class instead of ranking somebody else's. So it's like, it's, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I don't think that we know what we need. Now, can anybody tell you what's going to happen exactly with an 18-year-old guy for the next 4 years? No, but we feel like we got some really good players that fulfill what we're looking for. And in my mind, as long as we think they're good players, and my assistant coaches, and I looked at every one of them, and I think they can play, I could care less if somebody says they're the number 52nd ranked guard in the country or the number 17th ranked guard, because frankly, I don't know how the hell they know.
Can you tell us a little on the process of going about, getting the young man from Australia? I mean, how did that whole thing come?
Yeah, well, we have a guy over there that helps with their national team named Paul Manera, who played for us at the University of Hawaii. And way back when I was coaching at the University of Hawaii, I went over to Sydney to put on a clinic, a football clinic. They call it Gridiron there. And so I met a young man named Paul Manera who wanted to play. Well, he's actually now the guy that runs the national team. So we took Paul, got him a scholarship at a junior college in Mississippi, somewhere I knew, and then we took him to Hawaii, and he played for us for 2 years. So he called us and said, look, I've got a guy that can play. And we're like, well, give us some height, weight, and I knew that Paul had played. And when he sent us some video, and it became pretty intriguing. You saw a big guy who could run and could do some things. And so he goes, Coach, he can play. I know what it takes to play, and he can play. So we watched it, talked to him. Paul convinced him that he knew both myself and Coach Seawalk that this would be a great place to come play. So he and his parents came and visited, and that was it. He was grateful that we gave him an opportunity. It's different. There's such entitlement with everybody. This kid was, thanking us for giving him an opportunity. So he's hungry and excited to be here, and I'm anxious to watch him develop. He's probably not going to be as polished as some to start with, but you can't teach 6'4", 300 that can run. You can teach them how to play when they get here. Not really. I think that we took a couple of quarterbacks. Dennis is in school now. He'll be out for spring. And then Justin Thomas is a young man that was committed to Alabama out of Prattville that wanted to play quarterback. And, it kind of indicated to us from the summer that he was coming. He'd been committed to Alabama for a while. And as soon as it became apparent that they weren't going to let him play quarterback, we kind of knew what he was going to do. And he just waited for the Christmas break because, as you well know how recruiting works, it would have been fairly uncomfortable for him at Prattville High School to decommit from Alabama. So he waited till Christmas break, and he told Coach Saban, he called him up, he did it the right way in December. It wasn't one of the last-minute knee-jerk, here we go, 6 hours before signing day.
Coach, last year, you made the switch to the 3-4. You brought in a good group of linebackers that would fit in with that type of system. This year, it seemed like the group you brought in, along with some good defensive ends, brings you a little closer to where you need to be. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think anytime you add good players, quality players, it doesn't matter what scheme you run, it's going to be a benefit. And now the challenge for us is, and we'll start next week, is to sit down and I want to look at the board and look at our personnel, and we're going to talk through everything we do. And we need to make our schemes fit our personnel as opposed to trying to force square pegs in round holes. So we'll take a good look at everything that we're doing and try to make sure we get guys in the best position to play and have a plan and go practice this spring.
Do you have a timetable with the Spencer thing and replacing him and figuring out your staff?
Not really, no. I really haven't decided which way that I want to go with that, and I don't think there's any need to rush, and we'll think it through and try to figure out what gives us the best chance to be successful, and then we'll go from there. There's a lot of different things I could do. We could move guys around, can bring in a different position, we can do a lot of things. So I'm pretty open. I'm still thinking about it.
Some reports about what might be going down with him came out before your official release on it today. Did you have to talk to recruits during this so it wouldn't be a surprise to them?
Really was never an issue. It was never an issue. He was on administrative leave. The kids knew that. We never tried to, we didn't cover anything up. So he wasn't involved in recruiting. The guy that he recruited was already in school. He came in at mid-semester, and so it really wasn't a big issue.
Have you thought about kind of going forward, you have up to 5 quarterbacks maybe by the time fall camp rolls around, and how to deal with that? You haven't had that big a number.
I thought about it, yeah. You know how you deal with it. You move some of them, yeah.
So you think after the spring you'll make a decision to move?
Well, at some point, somebody's going to beat the other one out, and you don't want guys in the same class because I think they're all really good players. But we recruited all those guys to play quarterback, and we're going to give them a chance to play quarterback. And I think they have to have a fair chance to play. So how long is that? I mean, I would hope that with Justin and with Dennis, when they come in, they'll figure it out. If it takes a year, it takes a year. If it takes longer, if they're not the quarterback. My experience has been usually the kids come to you. They know. They know if somebody's in front of them and it doesn't look like they're going to play, they'll come to you and they'll say, Coach, I can play over here, or what do you think if I give this a chance? Or, it usually takes care of itself.
Are you satisfied